Grade 4, Module 5, Lesson 14 homework. Problem number 1. Compare the pairs of fractions by reasoning about the size of the units. Use greater than, less than, or equal to. Letter A, 1/3 compared to 1/6. We know that the thirds are bigger than 6 if we think about a tape diagram. So 1/3 is going to be greater than 1/6. Problem number 2. Compare by reasoning about the following pairs of fractions with the same or related numerators. All right, so this time we're going to be looking at the same or related numerators. Use greater than, less than, or equal to. Explain your thinking using words, pictures, or numbers. So we're going to need to use words, pictures, or numbers. Problem 2B has been done for you. I'm going to start by looking at problem 2A. We have 3/6, and we're comparing that with 3/7. I'm going to go ahead and see that there is the same numerator. So if it's talking about the same units 3 for the top, I'm going to go ahead and make this be a 1/6 and a 1/7. Because now we're comparing unit fractions, and that's a little bit easier to compare. We know that 1/6 is greater than 1/7. So if we want to think about 3/6 compared to 3/7, 3/6 has to be greater than 3/7. So our reasoning behind that, 3/6 is greater than 3/7 because 6 are a larger unit than 7ths. Let's look at letter D. 5/7 compared with 10/13. They're asking us to use the same or related numerators, but these numerators are not the same. So I'm going to think back a couple lessons, and how can I make my 5 be compared to a 10? Well, if I multiplied it by 2, I could get to 10. In order to do that, I'm going to have to multiply my numerator and my denominator by 2, and that's going to leave us with 10/14. So now I'm going to compare 10/14 to 10/13. This is the same idea as I just did in 2A, where if I was looking at 1/14 and 1/13, I know that 13 is bigger than 14, so 10/14 has to be less than 10/13. Since 10/14 is the same as 5/7, 5/7 is less than 10/13. Problem number 3. Draw 2 tape diagrams to model each pair of the following fractions with related denominators. Use greater than, less than, or equal to. Compare. I'm going to look at letter B. We're talking about 2/4 compared to 1/8. They wanted us to use denominators on this one instead of numerators like they did in problem number 2. So looking at B, we have 2/4 and 1/8. It's hard to compare when they're not having matching denominators, so I'm going to do as I did in problem 2D, and we're going to create matching denominators. One of my denominators is 4, and one of them is 8. Well, if I multiply 4 times 2, I can get to 8. So I'm going to multiply my numerator by 2 and my denominator by 2. Now I'm comparing 4/8 and 1/8. And it wants us to draw 2 tape diagrams relating this. So I'm going to do that next. So there's my tape diagram representing 8s. And I'm going to shade in 4/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to shade in 1/8. So we drew a tape diagram to model each pair of the following fractions. So I can see that 4/8 is going to be greater than 1/8. So my original problem, since 2/4 is another name for 4/8, then 2/4 is greater than 1/8.